What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Another Sunday edition of Breaking News around MLS because the news just never stops. As you see, I've got my Trent Alexander-Arnold jersey out because Liverpool play in about an hour against Manchester City. Getting very nervous, and I'm got to rush through, so I'm ready for kickoff. But hey, the news never stops. Doesn't even stop for Liverpool City. My hair is getting long, which serves as a reminder. I have not forgotten about my Brian White bet in that I need to get a mullet at some point. So it's loading. We're getting there. My fiance, I wouldn't say she's exactly thrilled about this development or this bet. And hey, there's always the idea that maybe I like it a lot, and maybe that's a new look to go with the mustache. Probably not, but we'll see. So we got some breaking news on Cabecita to Portland, a little bit more background on Thiago Almada and Botafogo. Charlotte has signed Thiago Almada, and just some other random stuff, including NYCFC stadium stuff. So let's just get into it. The Portland Timbers are nearing a deal to sign Jonathan Cabecita Rodriguez from Club America. Sources told me last night. I'm not entirely sure on the fee, but I can tell you it is definitely not close to the $15 million that they bid for German Berterame. With that being said, the club were working on deals for Berterame and Jonathan Rodriguez simultaneously. They knew that these were kind of their two final targets. They were pushing hard on Berterame. It was the more expensive player. It was the player entering his prime, and Cabecita's 30. He's still in his prime, but again, Berterame is a younger player. They were working on that deal again, and they thought it was going to get there or get close to it, and Berterame ultimately decided to stay with Rayados. Monterrey really pulled out all the stops from what I was hearing. There were some headlines about he was worried that he's in the process of naturalization to Mexico and playing for the Mexican national team. There might have been a little bit of pressure from the Mexican Federation to keep him at Rayados with a little bit of favor to their big club. I get it that this is all part of the game and negotiating and trying to keep your best players. And so Cabecita, though, is coming to Portland. The deal isn't quite done, but agreements are reached on all of the big points in terms of club to club and club to player. They're just ironing out the final details. I'm honestly expecting that to happen today, tomorrow, whatever. It's more or less a foregone conclusion unless something crazy happens over the next couple of days. So the idea would be that Cabecita, the deal gets done over the next couple of days. We'll see when he'll be able to debut. Hopefully it's soon, but he's fit, right? He shouldn't take too much time to really get acclimated and be available for selection whenever his visa and such goes through. Cabecita has 9 goals and 1 assist in about 1,100 minutes this year with Club America. He kind of wasn't playing entirely consistently, but again, that's still a really good goal contribution to minutes ratio. As we pull up his FB ref stats again, I've done it on previous videos, so I won't take up too much time here. He's still in the 97th percentile in goal, non-penalty goals, 95th percentile in non-penalty expected goals. Everything else, touches in the penalty area, aerials won, all this, again, he's being judged against wingers because he can play as an inside forward kind of off the left. I'm thinking that he's going to play more as a center forward, but I was talking to ESPN's Herculez Gomez, who knows Cabecita better than I do. I don't get to watch a ton of Liga MX because of all of the MLS that I watch. And Herc believes that he's best as an inside forward on the left wing, which is something that Portland wanted. But if I had to guess, I'm thinking that he's going to be playing most of his minutes at center forward, but we'll see. Phil Neville has a lot of options. Evander made his return against NYCFC. It was quite the return with that incredible game-winning goal in the 7th minute of stoppage time from distance. This attack has a lot of quality. They spent the first part of the offseason under Neville revamping the defense, bringing in Kamal Miller and Maxime Crépeau. Now, if this DP number 9 comes in, I think Cabecita is a 15-goal scorer in this league. As long as he gets 2,500 minutes, I don't think that goals are going to be a question for him. I think he fits really well with Evander, Moreno, and Anthony. This team is going to have a lot of options and a lot of quality in the attack. They're a little bit light in defense, but most teams are. Portland Timbers, man, things are looking up. Cabecita on his way. That DP number 9 is almost done. A bit of a random one towards the end of last week. Botafogo was the last club to be linked with Atlanta United star Thiago Almada. There was no official bid from what sources told me and Paul Tenorio, but the interest was very real. I think it was a little bit advantageous for Botafogo that this came out, that they're, allegedly trying to sign one of the best players in MLS, an Argentine international, a World Cup winner in Thiago Almada. Their American owner, John Texter, said, and I quote, "They know we like him. When they're ready to sell, we're ready to talk. In 2 years, he'll be in Europe worth $40 to $60 million." So again, no official bid happened. The Brazilian window closed. They were kind of putting this out there for maybe a summer deal if Atlanta are willing to talk. I'd be really, really surprised if a deal got done with Botafogo or honestly anyone in South America. Thiago Almada's future is in Europe. And Botafogo or any other South American club, I think, would have to pay well over the odds, both in terms of transfer fee and personal terms, to convince Thiago Almada to not go to Europe. What I was told is that the bid, like, they didn't bid, but their talks were like, yeah, we could bid 20 million. That, I'll just tell you right now, that's not going to get it done. Again, particularly to a club like Botafogo, just because, like, maybe there's a sell-on, right? Like, I could see it getting done in Europe to, like, if it's 20 million up front, and then, a lot of add-ons and a big sell-on. Again, this is just me deducing and thinking rather than any inside information. But I can tell you 20 up front is not going to do it without a whole lot of really attainable add-ons and a sell-on percentage. And again, I don't think that this is going to happen to Brazil. But hey, now Botafogo have the headline that they're in for Thiago Almada. It's good all around. In terms of Almada, we'll see what happens this summer. If Atlanta want to sell him for big money, it's got to be that window or the price is going down. His contract expires after 2025, so that'll be, 18 months before it expires? That's the last chance to get proper value for a player just on kind of the global market, because if he gets down to a year in his contract left in his contract in the winter, and they can't convince him to sign a new one, even if it's just a little bumper 1 year to have their security in these transfer talks, then that price is going down and it's going to be really tough. So I don't know. I'm going to be fascinated kind of what happens this summer. Again, I've said it 100 times, like, Atlanta's chief goal is, hey, Thiago could sign a new contract, become a senior DP. If he stays for a decade, we'd be happy. I don't see that happening, but they're going to keep trying, and we'll see what happens. Some more news that happened this week. Charlotte FC officially signed Israeli international winger Liel Abada from Celtic. I was told the fee was around $8 million, which is $8 million US, which is pretty significantly less than the reports coming out of Scotland. That was 10 million pounds. I believe that'd be like, 12 or 13 million US. So yeah, trust me, it's not that much. It's around $8 million. It's a really good signing by Charlotte FC, who definitely need the boost of attacking talent. Again, they have 2 DP spots, well, now 1 DP spot open and a U22 initiative slot open, with only Enzo Capetti kind of running the attack in terms of significant investment. Again, Kerwin Vargas is on a U22 deal. This makes the team much more dangerous. I think that he'll fit very well with Enzo Capetti. Capetti, I'm not ready to sell my stock. It's been a tough 3 games. Like, he does so many things right in off the ball, his runs, his work rate, getting into good positions. He hasn't scored. He's had a couple one-on-ones. That was kind of the difference against Toronto. Capetti didn't score a one-on-one, and Lorenzo Insigne scored from 25 yards out. So the foundation is there for Charlotte. They just need another kind of special player, and they're not another special player, because I don't think Enzo, right now, it'd be fair to say that he's a special player, but another kind of DP talent in the attack. We'll see if Liel Abada can be that. He won the Young Player of the Year award in Scotland, and he was a key player for Celtic in his age 19 and his age 20 season. I don't know how much I can really get into it without being in Scotland and knowing, but from what I was told, and the quotes that came out of Celtic, a lot of him falling out of the team had to do with the war in Gaza, because he's Israeli, and there was a lot of pro-Palestinian sympathies at Celtic, and Brendan Rodgers had a few quotes of his mind, we feel bad, his mind isn't right, we need to protect him, we can't put him in. So that was all part of it, and that's kind of all why he was available, and now he comes to Charlotte, and hopefully he hits the ground running. We'll see. I'm sure he's going to get more support here at this club. But again, Charlotte needed a DP, deal's all done, and now they still have 1 more DP slot open and a U22 initiative slot, so things are looking up. A few teams to watch over the next 5 weeks, I believe, 5.5 weeks of the transfer window. Houston Dynamo. I know that they're working to sign a young attacker. They could sign a young DP. I'd probably guess a U22 initiative slot, but again, I don't know that for sure. I know that they're working very hard to bring in another young attacker with, the injury to Sebas Ferreira, the injury to Hector Herrera, and Nelson Quinones. They're light in attack, but they're still looking pretty damn good under Ben Olsen this year. Again, a lot better than I thought with both of their DPs out. And again, Quinones, who is kind of really dynamic. Ibrahim Aliou has stepped up really well. He was super I thought that he showed flashes last year of his talent, and I was like, oh, this is an interesting player. This year, he's legitimately very good. And now it's huge for Houston. So let's see if they can go back in the market and find another player that can contribute to the attack. The San Jose Earthquakes are another team to watch. Again, don't have anything too new other than talks for Carlos Vela are off. Think they fumbled the bag here. Bad news for San Jose. They were looking at a player called Boetius, a Dutch attacking midfielder. He was diagnosed with testicular cancer last year or a couple years ago. He was in remission, and then this week, unfortunately, they detected more cancer. So it's really, really sad. Again, it's whether he would fit in San Jose or his career, that's obviously secondary to his health. And it's just really, really sad for a player who's kind of been working to fitness. He's been training, I believe, somewhere in Netherlands with the club, and like he would have been ready to go if he was signed. And again, like first and foremost, let's hope he gets healthy. But just wanted to provide that update because I linked Boetius to the team, and then it'd be weird to not say anything on this. One more team to watch. How did we transition from that? I'm going to try. It's no good way. Ugh. FC Cincinnati. I'm told that they're not done yet this window. They'd like to add another attacker. The best way they could do that is with a U22 initiative. But to get a U22 initiative slot open, Angulo would have to leave. He's been out of the team genuinely because of a family thing. This isn't like the transfer window back injury that Felipe Coutinho would always get at Liverpool until he finally moved to Barcelona. So this is genuine, but if they are able to find a suitor that covers his entire salary on loan, they'd be able to add a U22 initiative slot. And if they do that, they'd be in the market for U22 initiative forward. So we'll see. Keep an eye on Cincy. They are not done. One more piece of news, Minnesota United. Eric Ramsey, new head coach, he's officially in town. He should start leading training this week. He watched Minnesota's thrilling 3-2 win over Orlando from a hotel in Minnesota. I'm looking forward to watching him to see what he does to get started. Minnesota has had a really awesome start to the season with no Emmanuel Reynoso. That's incredible. I don't know. Last year we were taught survive in advance until Reynoso gets here. He's so heliocentric. He's so important. He's so talented. And this team has pulled off the results that they have without Reynoso. Man, things are more optimistic than a month and a half ago when I did my first power rankings, joking that they had no head coach, the sporting director wasn't there, Reynoso hadn't showed up for training yet, all these other things. Things are looking pretty good for Minnesota. All right, two more here before I stop rambling and get the hell out of here and go watch Liverpool. A round of new contracts came around MLS this week. Denny Bouanga, Carlos Hill, Hani Mukhtar, Diego Luna all signed new long-term deals at their clubs. That is 3 DP players and 1 rising U.S. national team. U.S. national team. He's got 1 cap for the senior team. For Bouanga and Hani, this puts transfer talks to bed. Hani, Nashville rejected a bid from a Qatari club for Hani Mukhtar last summer. Mukhtar wanted a new contract, and now he signed one. Denny Bouanga, he did the public pressure. I would want to go back to Europe, a.k.a. give me a new contract to make me happy. So that's all that was. And they gave him a new contract, and now he's happy. And now his long-term future is tied to LAFC, and that's very, very good. As for Diego Luna, nobody expects him to be here through his contract at the end of 2028. This is to give him a pay raise now, recognize his very good form, and to also give Real Salt Lake maximum negotiating power when they talk to other teams. They're not going to stand in his way. Part of the negotiating to get him from El Paso, why that Real Salt Lake was the right option for him to continue his career, is that, hey, we'll move you on to Europe when you're ready. We won't be unrealistic. So, again, they're going to have power in negotiation because of this long-term deal, but it's not like they're going to hold out for some ridiculously unreasonable fee. So, again, all expectations are that Diego Luna will be in Europe sooner rather than later, and this deal gives him a pay raise, and it also gives Real Salt Lake some security. All right, last one. NYCFC new stadium. It's moving forward. They passed something in New York legislature. I'm not going to pretend like I knew what it was before somebody explained it to me. Whatever the vote was, it passed. There's one more vote that needs to go, and then the mayor would sign it. And then what CEO Brad Sims told me is they'll be ready with shovels in the ground to move and start construction. Everything is on pace for 2027 as they expected and hoped. We'll see what happens with construction. Again, I'm not going to pretend to be a construction expert here. Things happen, or New York real estate. What I am here to say that I'm an expert on, when NYCFC sent me their new renderings and they told me something called the cube, I'm a dumb guy, so I was like, hell yeah, look at this. This looks honestly really cool. So they say this is the first thing you'll kind of see when you come off the subway or the train. It looks really cool. It's completely LED lights. It's 7 stories tall. I'd imagine a lot of the stadium budget is going into this, and for me, I think it's well worth it. I do like that they're trying to differentiate themselves from not just other MLS stadiums, but Brad Sims was saying, other stadiums in the New York City area. Our fans go to Yankee games. Our fans go to Mets games and Giants games and Jets games and everything else. We want to be different, and particularly with, there's a lot of beautiful new stadiums in MLS, but a few of them are a little similar. And look, that's just the nature of soccer as well, right? You have 2 options, a rectangle or an oval, 4 stands or 1 big continuous oval. So there's not a ton to do, but NYCFC found a way to differentiate themselves, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. All right, that'll do it for this week. Up the Reds. Go on Liverpool. It's going to be very sad if they lose the City today. Come on, let's get the title in Jurgen Klopp's last year. All right, I'll be back later.